Sean Kelley, the Car Biz coach here, hanging out with my man Scott Halpern. Scott, how you doing?
Hey Sean, how are you?
Well, I'm great. So the reason we're making this video is because we want to help you guys, no matter your level of tenure or expertise. We want to help you sell maybe 6-7 more cars a month, just like Scott's doing. So we're going to share some practical and tactical ways that you can do it. And before we dive into the tips, it's important to understand Scott's background in the automotive business. Scott, how long have you been in the car business?
35 years.
35 years. So Scott is no spring chicken to the business itself. And Scott, I would consider, what level of expertise would you consider yourself?
I'm pretty capable in most areas of the dealership.
He's being very humble, and I respect that. That being said, I guess at the risk of giving Scott a bigger hat, he's almost always the number one salesperson at this store.
Yeah, pretty much.
So almost always number one, if not every month. And also Scott, he was actually a finance director for how long?
For 16 years with AutoNation, and a few years for Sonic, and several years for Henry.
Pretty awesome. So awesome background in automotive, high level of expertise, and one of those guys that doesn't necessarily need training, okay? But what a guy like Scott needs is coaching. So about 7-8 months ago, we started working together. And Scott really, number one, Scott, how did you feel about it at first?
I think apprehensive because I think everyone that's a top tier performer doesn't think they need coaching, which is probably it is the top tier performer that needs coaching to stay a top tier performer.
Right. So. Absolutely. There's a glass ceiling on training, and you can only gain so much knowledge from training, but coaching is different. Coaching taps into the individual's strengths and opportunities. And Scott, even though you're producing at a high level, you're almost always number one. What sort of things did we coach on that have helped you sell an extra 6 or 7 cars a month?
Time management.
Okay.
Also, you coached me on how to get better surveys and how to have a schedule of follow-up. I think one of the areas I was lacking in was actually having a plan. I used to kid around with you and tell you it's chaos theory. And then now there's an actual list of things that I write down all throughout the day that I need to accomplish, and if I don't accomplish everything in that list, I carry it over to the next day's list.
It's awesome. I mean, we're talking about, our most precious resource is our time, and this is someone who spends the majority of his time with customers, so every minute he's not with the customer is extremely valuable for him. So we helped him kind of get control of his day and all the randomness that happens on the showroom floor, and as a result, Scott's selling an extra 6 or 7 cars a month, and this is the guy who's already the top salesperson at his dealership. So what would you advise, I guess if someone else was thinking that they're a top performer and that, maybe they're thinking, do I need a coach, or should I hire one, or what advice would you give them, Scott?
I think it's the coach and their method of coaching. Your method of coaching is one that is agreeable to both someone who's performing at the top level but knows that they can continue at that top level or get better than their top level from their coaching. So I knew that I was not able to complete everything I needed to do every day, and it was concerning to me. And I told you my concerns, and you helped me work through those concerns.
When you reached out to me last month and shared the win, the success story about, I was so excited for you, number one, and honored to be your coach, right? Because really, it means the world to me to work with someone like Scott. But it was the best story was that day you had 3 deliveries, you had all this stuff lined up, and share what you told your customers about those cars.
I finally determined that when I walked in on a Saturday that I wanted to have that day already set up, and I knew I had 3 cars sold, and I had all 3 cars lined up in front of the glass, and I had all 3 tags already on the car.
Keep in mind, we're selling Mercedes, and that is something, the delivery takes a significant amount of time. And Scott kind of felt pulled in a lot of different directions, and for him, making sure the customer experience is number one is the most important thing.
Yes.
So what has this new level of control done for your customer's experience? And I'm gonna ask one more question.
The customers are having a better experience. It's more streamlined. They're not feeling like they have to spend the entire day at the dealership. if you ask 20 people who bought a car, what was the one thing you didn't enjoy about buying the car? And all 20 will say it's the time I have to spend in the dealership. I either tried to cut that down or fill in the gaps with something meaningful.
Very cool. And for your, this is the last question I'll ask, Scott, for your level of, just job satisfaction and stress, what does that free you up more time to do, and how do you feel about your day now that you've got much more control over it, and you're getting more things done and you're making more money?
I think I'm more comfortable. I think it gives me the ability to present the people I meet a better experience and slow it down, because I don't have to speed it up to jump to the next thing. And I'll say this, probably the greatest factor was to develop a teamwork with Zachary Romero. Zachary Romero is our concierge and in charge of the technology end of it. And having better working with relationship with Zachary not only made happier customers, but has led to more sales, because those customers went out and told people, you're not going to believe this, I bought a car, sat with the technology specialist, I know how to use everything in this car. So I think the teamwork aspect also has led to a better relationship, selling more cars, and happier customers.
That's fantastic, Scott. Thank you for sharing. It's an honor. And I'm going to throw one last thing in there that he didn't mention, again, probably because it's humility, but in reality, I also see Scott spending a lot more time helping some of the new hires at the dealership. I feel like, and am I wrong in saying that the free time that you've generated, you're also able to help the other newer people around you become even better?
Well, it's a team. I mean, especially in a dealership this size, you have to ask one of your teammates, hey, help me, or your teammate will come to you all the time. I truly believe in this dealership there is such a good working relationship between certain individuals that if one person comes in and that individual's with someone, they'll come and get me, or I'll come and get them. We don't really care about the split deal. The more new people that you bring along, it just strengthens everyone. So it's
very cool. Well, guys, I'm excited again. Honored and excited to be your coach, and I'm looking forward to the next level, whatever that is for you. And we'll make sure we continue to work to accomplish it. And I think we're going to continue to help Scott do more of what he likes doing, less of what he doesn't, and ultimately just enjoy work even more. Scott, thank you again for sharing your success story, brother. This is Sean Kelley, the Carvers Coach. If you're interested in achieving some of the same results, it doesn't matter if you're new to the business, a manager, an owner, or a seasoned veteran top performer, coaching can make a positive impact in your career.